It's a great afternoon from more points of view than just the weather. It's a great afternoon, particularly to begin with, for me to be able to be here with our fantastic candidates in Lunenburg and Lunenburg West, Lisa Norman in Lunenburg West and Mark Burrill in Lunenburg, and it's a privilege for us to take a few moments this afternoon and speak to a signature dimension of the NDP's platform in this election, which we are just announcing today. And this is on the very important subject of the minimum wage in Nova Scotia. So a few years ago, our minimum wage in our province was the highest in Atlantic Canada. But today, the Nova Scotia minimum wage is the lowest in the Maritimes, and it's the third lowest in the whole country. And we're, in fact, in the middle of falling behind. The recent April 1st increase of 15 cents an hour under the McNeil Liberals, I'll say that again, the increase April 1st of 15 cents an hour for the McNeil Liberals in the minimum wage is in fact the smallest increase in the minimum wage of any province in Canada this year. The rest of the country has been seriously improving the standard of living for the lowest paid amongst us, while our province has come close to being at a standstill on this important measure of economic security and social inclusion. And it is not the case that low wages mean more jobs either. We know that youth employment has fallen more in Nova Scotia in the last 12 months than in any other province in the country. The people of our province, in fact, are losing thousands of jobs at the very same time as the McNeil Liberals have allowed the minimum wage to fall farther and farther and farther behind what we know would be a living wage. And so it's a great privilege for us all as candidates and as members of the NDP to speak to this commitment of our party in this election, that a new Democratic Party government will increase the minimum wage to reach $15 an hour by the year 2020. And this dramatic change in the minimum wage to a $15 minimum wage is also going to contain the component that a new Democratic Party government will eliminate and end the discriminatory provision under which we have at the moment something called an inexperienced worker rate, which is lower than the standard minimum wage to begin with. We would eliminate that category altogether. And moving to $15 an hour is not an economically marginal thing in any way. Think about it. In our province, where we have less than 1 million people, this will affect materially the incomes of 130,000 people, who that's the number of people we have at the moment making less than $15 an hour. By this measure, which incidentally, those 130,000 people are significantly more women than they are men, by this measure, we will be able to have a profound impact of improvement on so many people's lives. And these are people who, by means of this change, will be so much less likely to need to have to go to a food bank to get their food for themselves or for their kids. And these are people who, by means of this change, are going to be so much more likely to be able to actually have a place of their own and pay rent there and say that this is my place, this is my home. And these will all be people for whom it will be true that they'll be able to participate in a more complete, full way in the place where they live and the communities around them, because we know that being a full participant in the place that you live with the people who live around you and in your communities, this is something that is so much more possible for people who live in a home where there's something approximating a decent income. So there are those in our province, and many of them are amongst our political opponents, who really think that the path to prosperity in Nova Scotia is poverty-level wages. This is not the case. The path to prosperity is very simple. It's that businesses have to have customers. And in order for businesses to have customers, citizens have to have some money that they can spend. So it is our great honor, in not a rhetorical sense, an honor for us to be able to say that we are standing for the position of Government of Nova Scotia on the basis of a rock-hard commitment that we stand for $15 an hour as the minimum for which any person should work for wages in the province of Nova Scotia. So thank you so much.